sitting here today just talking about the break that I had to take in my life just for everything, and I'm still on that break, which I'm calling a healing journey, as I'm still just trying to figure it all out. I had a couple of really personal events happen within the family, and they hit me really hard. Excuse me, sorry, they hit me really hard. So I just had to put a pause on things because it was becoming overwhelming and stressful, and kind of pushed me into like a bit of a depression, to be honest. And I had to take a break. So I have like a whole 9 to 5, which is extremely demanding, which I enjoy. I do work in tech, and then I started Black Print a year ago, almost a full year ago. And you know, it's really a marketplace for Black-owned businesses to support them and promote them. But that's not really the entire vision. It's bad enough that we're in a pandemic, where we're home, but I actually don't mind being home. I'm kind of in a mixture of introvert and extrovert tendencies, where I love being in my home, but I do like mixing with people. But I also love my time by myself, so probably more than the average person. So I am definitely a mixture of introvert and extrovert, and it's really, in the beginning of June, things got really hard because my grandmother passed away, and then a week later my cousin passed away, and they were both obviously unexpected. One was extremely tragic, that was my cousin's, and it just kind of shut down the family. And then with my grandmother was 91, and she's essentially like my mother figure, because my mom, biological mom, and stepmom passed away when I was really young. So for the last 2 years, I've mentally been trying to prepare for, you know, just in case my grandmother passes, which you can't actually prepare for. But I don't think I even took it in or felt it until probably the past month. Like, I felt it in the midst of everything, but there's no time for process. And then because my cousin passed away so tragically, and he was so young, that really shut down the family. So if you can imagine, everyone's energy, everyone's down, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunties, uncles. It's just a shutdown. So on top of that, in my job, we were launching some big projects, so I had a lot going on, and then things were happening. Basically, it became overwhelming, and I needed to stop. I needed to put a break on everything. Just launched a project. A couple of people had left the company. It's a lot of responsibility, again, which I love and enjoy. And if you know me, or if you ever met me, I'm usually doing like 1,001 things at a time. So, you know, I'm either managing basketball teams, multiple ones, because who just manages one, right? Then I'm a single mom with big kids, so there's their lives to be engaged in. Then, you know, I'm climbing that corporate ladder, and then I'm using my daytime skills and saying, hey, why don't I put this into a business? Because I've always wanted a business of my own, and why not use the skills that I've gained over the last how many years to do something for the community, which I'm extremely passionate about. So then you throw in the midst of that life, and that puts a pause on everything after a while, because you get to the point where you're just going through the motions, but you can't think, and the motions, it doesn't mean anything anymore, or it's losing its meaning. And I'm getting all teared up now, so I put a pause on it because I could feel the heaviness. I'm still feeling the heaviness. So just as changes were happening at work, I was like, no, I need to take a break. So I've taken a month off, but it's actually been longer than a month. And at this point, I'm not even not even counting time. I'm just going with feeling. For the first time in my life, I've actually started to see a therapist, which has been so therapeutic. And I got someone from the culture. I got another Trini, a Black woman, someone that I could relate to. To me, that was extremely important. Someone that I can just talk to and be open with. And this entire year, I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And my reflection has been, how have I dealt with my trauma when it's happened over time? And I haven't. So I feel like it really all compiled into one. And the way my brain works, I'm very analytical. I break things down. I'm a product manager. I build things. So in order to build things, you got to be able to take things apart. In order to understand things, I got to like explode it and then piece it together so it makes sense. And then, you know, I got to look at things big picture. And when I look at the amount of trauma that I've had in my entire life, it's been so much. And I've never talked to anybody about it. And things always happen so close too. So you see, like 10 years ago, my son's father died, and then a month and a half later, my father passes away of cancer. I never took any time off. I just kept working. I think I took maybe a couple of days, a week maybe. Whereas there was a girl that I worked with, and her husband had passed away, I think a week apart from my son's father. And he was young, and she took off like a year. And it was a new job, and I just kept working. So I don't know why we feel, not we, I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but just why, I don't know how some of us don't deal with the trauma. We don't take the time to work through it, because it never really goes away. The pain doesn't go away. I'm tearing up now, but it doesn't go away. And if I think about before that, like my stepmom passed of cancer when I was younger, but I had actually moved out of the house already and moved back to Ontario from Alberta. And prior to that, my mom died when I was 7 months. And I mean, I was only 7 months, so what process, I don't even remember my mom. I didn't know my mom. But it was still very, very traumatic because she was murdered. So if I think about all of this trauma, why am I not like in a weekly session talking to somebody? It's a lot to deal with. And for me, these last two just really compiled everything. And if you know me, I'm usually joking around and laughing all the time. Now I'm fidgety and just kind of sad. So when we lose one of our brothers and sisters from a police officer, it doesn't matter if it's in Canada or if it's in the US, I feel it. I've been there. I feel it. I know what the families go through. I know what going to court is, and listening to the officers speak so heavily. It's terrible. There's actually no words. It's cruel. Then you lose family members who you know. That's people I don't know, and I feel it. And then there's family members who you know, who you love, who you grew up with, or who raised you. How do you prepare? You can never prepare. My father had cancer for years, and I went to visit my father about 6 months before he passed in Alberta. And you're never prepared. Like, I have a hard time going back to Alberta because I associate it with death. So Now I lose my grandmother, and it's hard, and everyone's in pain, and everybody deals with their pain differently. So it was very hard for me. And work, yes, I need to pay all my bills and all my financial responsibilities, which I'm behind in, so I'll make a payment arrangement. But those things just don't matter when you're trying to heal. You're trying to heal your mind, and then you start your business and you want to be so successful, and you just want to put in the effort, but you have to kind of take these pauses. But on top of all of that, compound that with like being locked in the house, and now you're in a pandemic, and your life as you know it has changed. So you walk around in masks. You know, you have two sides of the story. You have media telling different sides of the story. Everyone has their own opinion. Compound all of that, and that I could deal with, because I could deal with my opinion. I don't put my opinion on other people, and I respect people's opinions. So to me, that was just a respect thing. But then you have to figure out how to keep going. So my ex-boss, who in June as well left where I was working. I was just getting into hiking, and I had brought all these equipment, and you could even call it like a bug out bag or whatnot. But I was just getting into this app that allows you to see all different trails. I told him that I took off some time, and he said, grab your bag and get on the road, and I'm going to make you 3 different itineraries. Pick one and go spend some time by yourself, because this might be the only time you ever get to do that. In the midst of all of that, I'm speaking to a therapist on the road. So this is the very long prelude to my healing journey and how I get back to myself.
So I just did that.
And how I get back to whatever the new me is. Come with me, and we'll see what this journey looks like. And I've been hiking. I did that. I ended up going to Thunder Bay by myself, and not just hiking, camping, backcountry camping. So setting up a tent and doing all that, and racing the sun before the sun goes down to get set up with my camp, and then get up and cook and try not to be scared all night or early in the morning from wildlife, and get out there and pack up my bag and go hike on mountains, actual mountains, and reflect and think about what comes next, or how I deal, or think about whatever comes to mind. So there's a lot of videos. Still working through it all. And actually, even though I'm tearing up, I'm in a much better place now than I was however many weeks it's been now. I think it might be 5 or 6 weeks now. But I'm not there yet. But I'm trying, and I think that's what's the most important, is that you, when you're ready, you keep going. However keep going looks like, and it might just be different than how it started. And for me, I know it's going to be different. Just the vision has changed slightly, but I think it's more true to where it's supposed to be. And I think we'll stop there, and I'll take a drink of this rum. And yeah.